Alright guys, week 1 is in the books. We're going to talk about the news and our standout players and teams from week 1. And we're also going to talk about our NBA players that we want to see as NBA commentators after they retire.
80 drop 40 on Taco Tuesday.
Alright guys, episode 4. Let's see what happened in week 1.
Week 1 was crazy, man.
Week 1 was good. And it pretty much from Tuesday to Tuesday. It started with the Lakers and ended with the Lakers.
Ended with the freaking 40-point domination from AD, man.
So, if you guys missed it, last night, we record on Wednesday night. So, on Tuesday night, Anthony Davis dropped 40 points and 20 rebounds. And guess what? He only played 3 quarters.
And he was the first Laker, well, not the first Laker, but he is, since Shaq, pretty much.
To do it.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a big accolade. I know it's the beginning of the season, but to do something like that in your first season with the Lakers and the first week of the NBA, that's fucking sick.
I mean, he had a crazy stat line, 40 points, 20 rebounds, only had 2 blocks, which is good defensively, but I mean, wow, man, he only played 30 minutes. He literally scored more than 1 point for every minute he was on the court.
Get this man some help, bro.
I mean, it looks like LeBron's finally passing the torch to AD, and he's kind of going to be the more heavy lifting player. But, I mean, for LeBron, for sure, I know that for a fact LeBron can turn it up whenever he wants. But having AD there is obviously like a good backup for him.
Yeah, and LeBron isn't so worried about the regular season. Come on, let's be real here. He's in his 17th season, I believe. 16 or 17? 17th season in the league. You know, Father Time is undefeated. You know, he's not stupid. He's not going to go out guns blazing at the beginning of the season, you know, for what? He has AD by his side. And talent-wise, we can argue that AD is the best teammate that LeBron has ever had. So I wouldn't doubt that he's passing the torch to this guy.
And I don't know, I also feel like you said, Anthony Davis is the best teammate LeBron's ever had, but since having Dwayne Wade, he hasn't had someone that can actually go out there and drop 40 like that. Kyrie Irving is a volume shooter, and he was a great playmaker in Cleveland, but he was young. He doesn't have that same type of talent that AD has.
Yeah, and AD can do things both on the defensive end and on the offensive end. So that's huge for him, for the Lakers.
So yeah, that was a crazy game last night, but let's jump into the news. So Tuesday night, Trae Young sprained his ankle against the Miami Heat, and he's going to be out for 2 weeks, unfortunately. I mean, he had a crazy week.
He did, but I'm just happy that it's only 2 weeks. You know, that's good news for the Hawks. It could have been a lot worse.
And I mean they're actually losing their best player on the team, and nobody even thought that the Hawks would be even as good as they are right now. They're 2-2 in the league, and nobody really expected that. And the 2 games that they did win are all because of Trae Young. I mean, Trae Young has had a crazy season, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it sucks. He's out with an ankle injury, 2 weeks. You know, hope to see you soon. Going on, the next team, the Miami Heat, our hometown, Jimmy Butler missed the first 3 games of the season due to the birth of his daughter that I saw he actually named Riley.
Not a coincidence.
I mean, hey, in Riley we trust, bro. Pat Riley's the godfather. Not the godfather of the child, but the godfather of the NBA. But
the Heat culture will never leave his side now. He's stuck.
So yeah, and Butler came back on Tuesday night. He had a great game. He scored 20 points. It was, you know, he didn't miss a beat, and Miami Heat, you know, the Miami Heat fans love him.
I love him too, man. I mean, from what I've seen so far, he fits the culture, you know, right in. And I know we talked about this not too long ago, and I believe you said you don't know if he can be the face of the franchise, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love him. I love the new look that they're going with. That it's like young, gritty. Doesn't give a fuck.
I mean, we went to the preseason game, and that opener just gave me goosebumps.
Amazing. So, I mean, congrats to Jimmy Butler. He's back with the Heat, and it's going to be a good season for him. Next up, the Charlotte Hornets. Unfortunately, in the season opener, Nick Batum fractured his finger, and he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. So that's a loss for them. The Sacramento Kings, Marvin Bagley, he fractured his thumb. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks also. Another big loss for a team that needs the help. And some super sad news for the Knicks. So apparently in the Knicks, in the span of a couple days, Reggie Bullock, who is retired, his sister passed away.
That's unfortunate, man.
And I'm sorry, did I say Reggie Bullock was retired?
You did say he was retired.
Fuck no, he's injured.
I was about to
I messed that up.
I'm like, damn, bro, like you're cutting him off short this soon.
No, he's injured. My bad. That's on me. So Reggie Bullock, he's injured for the season. He's injured right now, but unfortunately his sister passed away, and Dennis Smith Jr.'s stepmother, his mother passed away. So that's really sad for the New York Knicks organization. 2 of their players losing 2 very important family members in their life, and prayers up for them.
Yeah, that's not something that, that's easy to deal with, but, hopefully they could come back strong and they could have a great season.
Some bigger news, the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving, bro. Kyrie Irving, apparently, according to Nets officials, has been having mood swings, and apparently in the preseason, their trip to China they had some concerns about an altercation or a conversation that might have happened with Kyrie Irving. I haven't seen anything else about this, anything deeper, but I mean, we were talking about it before the podcast. I wouldn't doubt it. It's not that I think it's true. I just wouldn't doubt it if he's having mood swings and kind of being a diva.
Yo, Kyrie, get over Kalani already, man.
Oh shit, dude. Fuck, dude, I forgot about that. So yeah, I mean, they're playing great. Kyrie Irving has dropped major,
I mean, his first game, he scored. He lost it, but he scored 50.
Bro, yeah, and they lost to no fault of his own either. It's not because of his fault. Anyway, you know what I mean? He had an amazing game, and I don't know. Like, is there team chemistry issues now? Is there something behind the scenes that we're just not seeing? But I mean, the Nets look like they're doing good. Kyrie Irving's doing good. He's playing good, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Kyrie Irving so far has averaged 50. Well, not average, but he scored in the first 3 games 50, 26, and 37. So offensively, he's not having any problem. But I mean, I don't know. It seems like it might be something that's going deeper, or maybe it's just rumors. I did see that KD said that everything with Irving is fine. It's the way he is. It's like kind of his way of leading, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm not really too hung up on it. It's the beginning of the season. It's only the first week.
Yeah, it's true.
We have 82 games to play. We haven't even passed, the Christmas game yet. So I'm not, like I said, not too hung up on it. And if it were, like I said, what we talked about earlier, I'll just wait for that noise to die down. The media is the media at the end of the day. They could say whatever they want. And, They're a great team, and I don't expect them to do many great things this season. I expect them to have somewhat of the same record of last season. They don't got KD. They're trying to build that team chemistry, so there's not much expectations for this team. At least I don't think so.
And I think it may be even a kind of a good thing that not a good thing that KD's out, but when you bring in 2 superstars like that, in the same year, I feel like it's good that, or at least the positive side of him being injured, is that Kyrie Irving gets to actually ease into his role in the Nets. He gets to actually become a superstar by himself, and he doesn't necessarily have to worry about sharing the ball with KD. He gets to be a leader on his own, and I don't know, I feel like it's going to be this year is going to be a good transition for that. But with all these talks of having mood swings and everything, I just don't know how it's going to play out.
Now, my question is, I know KD and Draymond had some issues in the locker room, according to the media and things like that. Do you think that if these mood swings were a thing, do you think KD and Irving, when KD does come back, can butt heads, and can that affect them winning a championship in the future?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's literally an answer that, or a question that we don't know the answer to until KD comes back. You know what I mean? I mean, Russell Westbrook and James Harden aren't playing the best together right now, but it doesn't really matter because there's so much talent. You know what I mean? They're not playing perfectly together, but they're still getting it done.
Yeah.
So maybe it could be a situation like that. I do remember that during the offseason, or not during the offseason, I think it was actually during the regular season last year, Kyrie Irving mentioned that he realized his mistake in leaving Cleveland. He accepted the fact that he can't be the number one leader. And I mean, everybody in the league knew this already. You know, he likes to be the number two. He doesn't want to have all the full responsibility. So I think he has the mindset to be able to play well with KD and have KD take on most of the role, most of the leading and kind of offensive role, even though he's still going to be the biggest part of it. Like I'm not even going to see it as KD being option one and Kyrie being option two. I'm going to see it as KD 1A, KD 1B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we obviously LeBron James doesn't have the same playstyle as Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving is used to playing with superstar LeBron James, so it's going to be different. KD has an all-around shot where LeBron didn't. So Kyrie Irving was taking more of the three-point shots, taking more of the mid-range shots, where LeBron James was mid-range and driving in. Even though LeBron James is LeBron James, he can make a three-pointer anywhere. But KD is more of a shooter. He's taller. He has a way different play style. So I don't know. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be definitely something he's not used to.
Yeah, and I feel like, speaking on the whole KD and him being a shooter, I just think that KD is just a natural born scorer. LeBron is just a freak of nature, whereas KD is more he could seamlessly drop 40 on you any given night.
Yeah.
His shot is just that wet. And I feel like, being paired up with that will take a lot of pressure off of Kyrie, since he likes being option number two. But the thing is, we don't know when KD is going to come back, but when he does, do you think he's going to be the KD of old, or do you think Kyrie has to pick up the slack those first couple of months where KD does come back? I mean, I know it's far from now, but those are some questions that I do have for this Nets team.
That's true. I mean, hopefully it works out for them too. I mean, I like the Nets team. You know, I'm not mad that they kind of did the super team and stuff like that, but I don't know. You know, the East is becoming a harder conference to kind of get out of. You know, the past couple of years it was just, if you want, you didn't even have to finish over 500 to make the playoffs. But now with the addition of, not the addition, but now with the Bucks and the 76ers emerging as top contenders, the addition of KD and Kyrie Irving and the addition of KD in the Eastern Conference and having them both going to the Nets, having DeAndre Jordan come to the Nets, helping them out when they were already a quiet playoff team last year. I don't think it's gonna affect their chances too much, but then again, a lot can change in the NBA in just 1 year.
I mean, not even a couple of months too. I mean,
yeah,
that's just how the NBA works, and that not even to mention the trade deadline's not even over yet. I mean, not even here. So
yeah, we still have months for that.
Yeah.
So that's it for the Nets, and then the last piece of news: DeAndre Ayton is suspended for 25 games due to the violating the anti-drug policy. I saw something that it was because they detected a diuretic in the test results, so maybe he was doping up, maybe he was just smoking weed. I don't know what he was doing, but he was taking something to clean his system out, and that's a no-no.
He can't handle being in Phoenix, bro. He can't be sober in that city.
So, I mean, that's definitely a huge blow to the Suns. I mean, I was excited to see Devin Booker, Ricky Rubio, and DeAndre Ayton all together kind of balling out there in Phoenix, but then again, I mean, they're still 2-2.
Which is surprising. I'll get to that later, but
it is surprising, and I mean, I don't know. It sucks that he's going to be out for 25 games. That's literally more than a quarter of the season. So it sucks for him, and he's such a young player too. So it kind of sucks that he's having to deal with this kind of thing in his second year in the league.
Yeah, second year, I believe.
So yeah, that's the news around the league. And next up,
our standouts of the week. I was actually really I was excited, for this segment because a lot of things happened that took me by surprise.
For week one. I know that week one always comes out, explosive. Everyone's excited for the season. People usually come out in the beginning of the season and they just drop, just like AD and stuff like that.
It's like 2K pretty much for the first week.
People just come out, they show out, they ball out, and then it kind of dies down after week 2 and 3. But I mean, in week 1, who are your standouts, bro?
The first standout that I have, I can't even believe I'm saying this right now. The Minnesota Timberwolves. You know how I feel about these guys. I'm not the biggest advocate for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Cat has been lighting it up.
They have a 3-0 record right now
Undefeated.
in the West. I mean, that's crazy enough as it is. Cat has been averaging 32 points on 52.5 field goal percentage, and just the one of the players that I think I have the most criticism of, Andrew Wiggins. I mean, I hope he could continue doing this, but 20.7 points a game on 43.1 field goal percentage. Do I see this continuing on? Probably not. It's the West, for crying out loud. But I have to give credit where credit is due. And I'm proud of these guys for being 3-0 in the West. I mean, they've been kind of one of those teams that have been disappointing, season by season. But to come out like this and to make a statement, I don't care what team it's against. You got to give credit to these guys.
And Andrew Wiggins has been killing it too. I mean, he shot against the Heat the last game on the 27th. He scored 25 points, shot 50% from field goal, 40% from three. I mean, he's killing it. And I had a lot of doubt about Andrew Wiggins this season. I think a
lot of people
do. A lot of people are saying that he needs to start producing, he needs to start becoming more efficient, and it looks like he's doing it this year.
Yep. So the next team that I have as a standout is the Phoenix Suns. Now, the only reason they're a standout for me was because they gave the Clippers some trouble. I didn't expect that. Besides that, good luck with the rest of the season. That's about it. I was watching that game and I wasn't watching it. I got the notification on my phone and I'm like, that I didn't expect that. And they didn't have DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker fouled out. So you would expect a Kawhi-led, a Kawhi-led team, and they balled out. The stat line on that game was crazy. There was points all across the board, but to lose to a Phoenix team, that just caught me by surprise.
Yeah, it's crazy how the Los Angeles Clippers lost to the Phoenix Suns, and even the fact that they have probably, arguably one of the best defensive teams, and at least on paper, we'll see more of the defensive stats as the games go on, but the fact that they lost to the Suns and the fact that they also have such a good defensive team and still Devin Booker scored 30 points.
Yeah. And
looking at his stat line, he scored 50% from field goal and 50% from three-point line. So he obviously wasn't bothered. He was shooting amazing percentage, and I don't know. I mean, it's just super surprising. And also looking at the game stats, Montrezl Harrell was the leader in points.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing I love about this Clipper team, because realistically, I don't think they can rely on Kawhi, especially with Paul George out, because I personally think they need to conserve his body for the playoffs. I wrote not too long ago that I think that the injuries that Kawhi has had in the past are something to take into account. And that's what I like to see from this team. And for a guy like Montrezl Harrell to be the leader in points and just kind of give Kawhi that help speaks volumes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Montrezl Harrell scored 28. Lou Will scored 23. Kawhi Leonard did score 27. But, I mean, it's crazy how Montrezl Harrell, even though it's just 1 point more.
And I really like he's starting to grow on me. And I'll be very honest, I didn't really watch him too much.
He was 90% from the field, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and he's becoming one of my, low-key favorite bigs in the league right now.
I love it, man. And, I mean, I feel like the Clippers team is going to be kind of a really unconventional team. They're kind of... I don't think they're going to be like how the Warriors were when their dynasty started. For example, when the Warriors dynasty started... Small ball was emerging in the NBA, but they're the ones that really put it over the edge and made small ball the norm. People couldn't stop them. They did their death lineup with Curry, Thompson, Iguodala, Draymond Green, and who's even at center? I don't even know. Oh, and Sean Livingston was, I think, in the lineup too.
I think so. I don't remember.
They had this super small ball lineup, no center on the court, and they really revolutionized the NBA. Now every team does that, and teams don't care about inside, paint or like interior scoring or defense. Really, they care about perimeter scoring and defense. And I feel like the Clippers now have the same kind of dynamic where it's like, okay, they're a super defensive heavy team, which might even be something that has never even been seen before, where they have they have two of arguably the top defensive players in the league, which are Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They have Patrick Beverley, who is a first team all defensive candidate, and they have Montrezl Harrell, who's an emerging center in the league, and they have Lou Will. So I think they're gonna be a really unconventional team in terms of that. They're something that's not gonna have been seen before, and that their defensive talent and consistency is really what's gonna put them over everybody else. Not the fact that they can drop points and become super consistent offensively, which they absolutely can with those people. But I think the defense is really gonna be like the spotlight of the team.
No, for sure. Defense is the name of the game for that squad. And I just want to point out that my standout was the Phoenix Suns. Here we're talking about the Clippers.
Yeah, true. But I mean, dude, like the Clippers, bro, they're just a great team. But let's go back to the Suns, man. I mean, the Suns had a great week, dude. I mean, they're 2-2. I mean, they lost. They beat the Clippers. They beat the Sacramento Kings. I mean, the Kings is not that much of a challenge. But
I mean, I wouldn't really say that, but that's like in my opinion, I think that's equal playing field. Like
for sure, like with them, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it might not be a challenge for a team that's like for the Lakers or for the Clippers, but for them, that's a good matchup, I think.
And what I'm thinking is that if they don't have DeAndre Ayton and they're able to go 2-2, what's gonna happen when they do get him? When he does come back, is he gonna have impact, or is it gonna bring their momentum down? Is it gonna help them? I don't know.
I mean, I think it all depends on just how mature and how focused and locked in DeAndre can come back. Because I've seen players come back from that much time off and they're just kind of rusty and, not the same player. But only time will tell with that.
And even then, like the Suns, the two games that they lost were against the Nuggets and Jazz, who are not juggernauts, but they're part of the top half of the Western Conference, mm-hmm. which are all basically juggernauts anyway. And they've lost both games just by 1 point.
Which is pretty impressive for a team like, the Suns.
Yeah.
So, moving on to my next team, this goes without saying, but even if this team has not won a single game this season just yet, the New Orleans Pelicans stood out to me, and here's why. So, despite them just not winning a game, I just want to point this out real quick. These are the teams that they've been playing against. They've been playing against the Raptors, the Mavericks, the Rockets, the Warriors, with no fucking Zion Williamson. And let me just read out these scores to you. The Raptors, 122-130. The Mavericks, 123-116. The fucking Rockets, bro, 123-126. They just lost by 3 points. The Warriors, 134-123. What this shows me is that this young core, they know how to play together, and they don't have, possibly their best player on that team, because Zion is just a freak of nature. And the question that comes to my head is, how is this team going to be when he comes back? How just dynamic of a team can they be?
Man, I think they're even though on paper they're 0-4, like you said, they're playing really great together, and I think that their young core is also playing great together as well. I think they're having a lot of talent on the team, and they're really kind of getting out of their shells. They're still learning how to play together. A lot of the Pelicans team, they are technically in rebuild mode. It's just that they have so much talent on there that a lot of people don't see them as rebuild. They kind of see them as a bust just because of the talent, but they know they're going to play bad. I think when Zion Williams comes back, I think he just might be that little piece or that little factor that they're missing to put them over the edge, at least on the court and like on paper for the points. But with Zion Williamson out, Brandon Ingram, man, is killing it. He's averaging 27.3 points a game this season. They've only played 4 games, but 27 points a game. That's insane. He's averaging 50% on field goal, 50% on 3-point, 9.5 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 0.8 steals and 1.3 blocks. That's, hey, I'm not saying he's a candidate, but those are MVP numbers, bro.
Yeah, Can he keep it up though? That's the
Can he
thing.
keep it up? I don't
That's
know.
the question.
And obviously, when Zion Williamson comes back, that point total is really gonna drop. That rebound total is definitely gonna drop. But I mean, Brandon Ingram is he was a good player in the Lakers. He's proving to be a leader on the Pelicans, and I don't know if he can keep up the 4.8 assists a game. I'm sure when Zion Williamson comes back, he's gonna definitely his assists are gonna take a hit. His rebounds are gonna take a hit, but I think his assists are gonna go up just because of the fact that they're definitely gonna be feeding Zion the ball a lot.
And one thing I want to note about this team too, I mean, at least I don't see it, at least not yet. I don't see any ego issues with this team. I feel like everyone gets along, and everyone knows their role. I feel like they're aware that when Zion comes back, they know what to do. They know where they stand as players, and that's very important because nowadays in the league you see a guy, he wants to just be this egotistical asshole and just wants to be the center of the team, and that could really destroy a team. But these young guys are showing that, yeah, they're young, but they're mature enough, to be who they are on the team, and that's just amazing. And for their first year together and the first couple of games that they've played, there's just so much room to expand on what they already have.
And I mean, if you look at their rankings in the league, they're fourth in points scored, and they're first in assists. They average the most assists per game. Like you said, they're a young team. They have a lot of talent, but they know how to play basketball. They love working. They love playing together. They know how to not be selfish. They know how to share the ball, and I mean that's great, especially seeing a young team like that. And without their star, I think they're really adjusting to not having Zion on the court very well, and I think that's definitely going to translate into when he comes back. Just imagine having a big man like that that's so athletic, and if he can stay healthy and attack the rim, with being the number one spot, with being the number one team of playmaking and having assists per game, just imagine how much more that's going to go up. Imagine how many lobs we're going to see. Imagine how many pick and rolls they're going to play. And I think it's going to be great, and especially with having Lonzo Ball at point guard, that he's an amazing playmaker and a great, maybe not an amazing playmaker, but he's an amazing passer. I think it's really going to be a fun team to see.
For sure. And one last thing I want to say. I know I say this a lot about like younger teams and things like that, but this team, if there's one team right now that reminds me of that 2015 Warriors team, I know I said this about the Atlanta Hawks not too long ago, but if they could keep it up like this and they could keep this core, and if they can just keep improving on what they already know, this could be another 2015 Warriors-ish team where they don't have necessarily the big name super team, but their chemistry just bulldozes over other teams. And that to me, I would take a team that doesn't really have the big names, but the chemistry is on point, and have three big names, but there's egotistical problems on that team.
I agree, but I think a lot of factors or a lot of things need to happen in the NBA for that to happen. I do think they have the potential, talent, and names on the team to become kind of like the Warriors like that, where they were together for a couple of years and then they just kind of like came out of the light. They came onto the spotlight in 1 year, in one season. But just the fact that they're in the West, it's going to be a lot harder. Like the Warriors started the whole lopsidedness of the Western Conference, even though the Western Conference has always been more dominant than the East, but they really brought it up a notch with the new wave of super teams and things of that nature. But if certain things happen in the league, big blockbuster trades, maybe big players on big teams aren't happy, for example, we don't know if the Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Jazz, we don't know if they're all going to stay together. We don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of years, but I do think that within the next maybe 3 to 5 years, if the Pelicans are smart, if they rebuild enough, if they get those pieces that they're missing, if they learn how to play together even better, and the most important key, if Zion Williamson can stay healthy and he lives up to the potential that literally everybody has hyped him up for, I definitely see them becoming a very dominant team in the league. And especially since they're so young, I think it could be for a while. But what happens when you have a lot of young, talented players on a team? Salaries become an issue.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I know I'm kind of going against what I just said about, young cores and just kind of them building on that. But let's say along the line, the salaries do become an issue. Do you think that Zion, if he can stay healthy, do you think he can attract a big name free agent in the future?
I mean, I don't know. I hope he can. I hope I hate that the Pelicans have had so many like, or have had like, for example, Anthony Davis for so many years, and they weren't able to do anything. They made the playoffs literally only once, and I
Mm.
think they got swept that year, right?
I think they made it. No, I think they made it twice.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, I think they made it twice.
I don't know. Like it for sure wasn't a lot,
No.
and I mean, it sucks that they weren't able to have Anthony Davis go deep into the playoffs or to really go into the postseason that often, and just kind of seeing that talent wasted, especially in the playoffs where everything is amped up to a 10. You know, it's dialed up, and if Zion Williamson can stay healthy, if he proves to be a superstar, I think he's for sure gonna have to be able to recruit other players and other superstars. But the reason I'm not too optimistic about it is because I have faith in Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh
Yeah.
Hart, all those younger players on the team because I think that they have the potential. They have the potential, the talent, and the opportunity to blossom into superstar players themselves. That's why I think I agree more with like the Warrior statement where it's
Yeah.
these, for example, in the case of the Warriors, it was Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. They were all drafted, you know, within a couple of years, and they grew together, and that's why they're so good because they built their game around each other. I think, especially the fact that, you know, the young core of the Pelicans was really the young core of the Lakers, and they all played together. I think that's really also going to play a big factor in helping them out. But bringing in a new superstar, I don't know, man. Like it depends on the landscape of the team. If they keep Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart and all these other players that they have, depending on what they're asking for, what are their rookie extensions, how are their contracts playing out. If they have the salary cap, maybe they can. If not, they're gonna have to get rid of some pieces, and that's definitely gonna hurt them. Will it be the smartest thing? I don't know.
Yeah, no. It was just kind of one of those like questions, like what if, like can it happen? Not saying I'm a fan of it, not saying I would want that to happen, but it was just one of those questions where like, could it happen?
Yeah, I think it definitely could happen. I mean, it's just there's so many factors that go into it, but I would rather them not do that.
No, yeah.
I really want to see them grow together.
Now my last standout is actually a player, and he is one of the players that I was most anticipated for this upcoming season. And I feel like we haven't seen him in a freaking eternity, to be quite honest. And that's Kristaps Porzingis. He has been averaging 22.3 points a game on 42.9 field goal percentage. And I know that might not seem like a big deal, but we got to remember, he tore his freaking ACL, and we know how those injuries go. And no, it's the beginning of the season, but for someone who has gone through that injury, missed the amount of time that he's missed, he's showing that I mean, maybe I wouldn't say unfazed by the injury, but he can still put up these numbers. And, I'm not saying that he's going to be like MVP or anything like that. Let's be realistic here, but it stands out to me because that, coming back from an injury like that is pretty, crazy to do. And not only that, but 73.1% from the free throw. He has a lot to improve, and I feel like he can still develop. He's still coming off an injury, but wow, like what do you have to say about that?
Dude, I mean, I love Kristaps Porzingis. I didn't have a doubt in him. I did think that he might dip down a little bit just because of the injury, but I mean, when you're able to score 23, 24, 30, and 32 points in the first 3 games back, he's not missing a beat. He kind of dipped off on the 29th against the Nuggets. He only scored 10 points, but he did get 14 rebounds, which is his season high right now. So, I mean, I loved him on the Knicks. I love his entire play style. He's definitely like I don't want to say mini Dirk Nowitzki because he's not, he's taller than him, but he's the next international player. He's a big man. He can shoot, he can block, he can rebound. He's definitely going to be a huge face in the league.
No, yeah,
and for the Mavericks.
No, for sure. And I feel like the Mavericks have this like magic power to just kind of get these international players that are beast. I mean, Dirk, obviously. They got Luka. They got Porzingis. I don't see them really getting too far. I'm not making the playoffs this season. But if they can keep this core together, I just think that that could be a really scary dynamic duo down the line.
And I really hope they stay together for me, the rest of their careers. Luka Doncic. I say Doncic. Is it Doncic or Doncic or
whatever you want,
bro.
bro.
With Luka and Kristaps, man, that's gonna be an amazing dynamic duo. I honestly think they could go down as being one of the better dynamic duos in NBA history, just because of the fact that their predecessor was Dirk Nowitzki,
Yeah.
and they're both athletic. You know, Luka and Kristaps are both athletic. They're both foreign. They're both insane scorers, and they both have that energy for the Dallas Mavericks that kind of Dirk Nowitzki brought. You know, they're very humble. They're very, nice people that the city of Dallas loves, and they're used to it with Dirk Nowitzki. And just literally just the whole fact that they're together there on the team really makes the whole dynamic duo so much more dynamic.
For sure. So those were my standouts of the first week of hoops. Now, James, what do you got?
Man, I'm gonna start off with Trae Young, man. Trae Young has been balling out this year. Like we said earlier, unfortunately he sprained his ankle against the Heat on Tuesday night, and he's out for the first 2 weeks for the next 2 weeks. But he's been averaging 26.8 points on 50% shooting and 3-point percentage. So he has a 50% field goal and 3-point percentage, along with averaging 7.3 assists and leading the Hawks to a 2-2 record. I for sure thought that the Atlanta Hawks were going to be, I know they've only played 4 games, but I thought they're going to be the bottom of the barrel in the East. But right now they're at 50, they're above 500, or they're at 500, and they're second in the Southeast Division, right behind your boys, the Miami Heat. But I mean, he's really leading them to be one of the better, not one of the better teams, but he's really helping them out. And he's proving to be the guy that's like kind of their savior. And I mean, he's leading the league in points. He's averaging, like I said, he's averaging almost 27 points a game. It's just insane. He's also bringing in a steal a game, and he's such a young player. He's only been in the league. This is his second year in the league, and he's able to do this.
No, yeah, for sure. And like his first season, he averaged 19.1 points a game, and he's already off to a 26.8 points a game start. And I know this could change. I know those stats could vary depend on factors and things like that, and the injuries and all that. But that's a big freaking leap, just from one season to another. And not only that, players are notoriously known for not having great sophomore seasons. Their rookie seasons, they'll play really great, and then their second season in the league, they're nowhere to be found. But Trae Young is an animal, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I hope he heals up quick, because the Hawks definitely need him. He's a star player on there, and I think he's definitely gonna be an all-star one day in the league.
He could possibly be an all-star this year.
Yeah, being in the East, it's wide open. So my next standout player for week 1, a guy that I talked a lot of shit about in the first episode.
Oh god, here we go.
Markelle Fultz.
What?
He's playing great.
I'm telling you, bro.
In week 1, he's averaged 12, 12, and 13 on pretty much 50% shooting. I mean, he's averaging 12.3 points, 47.1 field goal. His 3-point percentage is 23%. That's the shot problems that I was worried about. But I mean, I didn't think he was going to be averaging 12 points a game. And he's also racking in the assists at 4.7 assists. And he's, I just didn't think he was going to be playing this good. Now I know he doesn't have that big of a stat line, but I honestly had no faith in him. I thought he was going to be a complete bust, but he's proving to be a great playmaker for the Orlando Magic. He's able to space out the floor now that he's proving that he does have a decent shot now, and he's becoming a valuable asset to the team. What do you think?
I have him for my most improved player, man. So I hope he could keep it up, and it's a good sign for the first week. Like I said, in the second episode, this new change in scenery is gonna do a lot for him. Him and Philly, that they just dug him to the freaking ground, bro.
Yeah, man. I don't know what they did to him.
Those Philly fans are ruthless. Now I know I've seen fans around the league, but I have not seen anything like Philly fans. These guys are ruthless as fuck. So for him to be in Orlando, a new organization. You know, Orlando's Orlando at the end of the day. You know, they're not some sort of crazy team. They're a sleeper team every year, but I feel like he can prove himself on this roster.
I hope so, man. I hope he can keep up the good work. I hope he keeps improving. I think I also think that his 3-point shot, like the fact that it's he has such a low percentage, is kind of I do think a big part of it is the shooting mechanics and just him becoming more consistent offensively. But I think it's also just learning which shots to take, which shots not to take. But I hope he keeps on improving on that, on the shot and everything.
No, yeah, and not to mention he only played 14 games in the 2017 season and only 19 games in the 2018 season.
Exactly.
So we don't even know what he's capable of. We say that, oh, he's a bust and all that, but we really don't know. So
my next standout player, Derrick Rose, man.
For sure.
Detroit Pistons. He's been killing it this week. He's been exploding. He's never going to be 100% the old Derrick Rose.
No.
But he's definitely becoming more fearless. He's driving to the basket. He's being explosive, but he's still playing smart. And he's improving his shot. He has a way better shot now. You know, he's been improving season after season. He's averaging 21.5 points on 54% field goal percentage and 50% 3-point percentage and 90% free throw. So he's shooting 54, 50, and 90. Those are amazing shots. That's amazing shot percentage for him. And he had 31 points in last Saturday's game. He is killing it. He's blowing up.
I'm just really happy that he's crafted his game. You know, when he first came into the league, you know, we saw it, you know, in 2011 when he won MVP. He was an explosive player. He had the potential to be this, you know, crazy athletic freak of nature, and obviously the injuries did hold him back. But I'm really happy that he's found a way to craft his game to a sense where he's still, like you said, explosive in a way, but not where he's going to hurt himself. And he's just more smarter with his choices. And I like Derrick Rose. He's worked his ass off. You know, he had setback after setback. And usually at this point, you know, he had a point in Cleveland where he was evaluating if he even wanted to play in the league. And, you know, his 50-point game last season to him averaging this much this season, at least so far, that speaks volumes to the heart this guy has.
I love him, man. He definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's having a great season. I hope he can keep it up. You know, Blake Griffin is out, but I think he's just going to get better when Blake Griffin comes back. I think he's going to... Definitely his scoring is going to go down because Blake Griffin's the number one scorer on the team. But he's definitely going to be much more of a playmaker, and especially with the spacing that they can have. I mean, Blake Griffin, obviously, he's known for his dunking and athleticism, but he's gotten a shot. You know, he's a great mid-range shooter, and he's becoming a very reliable 3-point shooter, and just spacing the court out. It'll be really interesting seeing Derrick Rose kind of playmaking with that kind of dynamic.
No, yeah, and I'm really excited to see it. And this Detroit Pistons team can be a dark horse in the East, I think.
For sure. I mean, I think they have a really good chance of making the playoffs, and you know, I love their I said in our episode about the awards, if Derrick Rose was coming off the bench, he's one of my candidates for Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah.
So my next standout is a team. It's our hometown, Miami Heat. I know we talk about them all the fucking time.
Well, guess what? Get fucking used to it. It's our hometown team.
Man, but they deserve it. They're number one in the Southeast Division. We're 3-1. The only game that we lost was against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We lost by 7. You know, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a great team. It's a respectable team to lose to, but I mean, we beat the Milwaukee Bucks.
That caught me by fucking surprise.
Yeah, we took them to overtime, and you know, we've had a pretty easy schedule so far with the Memphis Grizzlies and the Atlanta Hawks on Tuesday. But let me tell you, man, the Miami Heat, they're playing amazing. Tyler Hero alone on Tuesday night scored 19 points in the second quarter, and he had how many points was it? He had 29 in total. He's a rookie, guys.
He's a walking bucket. He's not even a rookie. He's not even a rookie. He's a walking bucket. Get it straight.
Dude, I mean, he's playing amazing. Jimmy Butler came back for the first time on Tuesday night. He dropped 20 points. He's an amazing player, obviously. You know, he's already... but he's proving to play really good on the Miami Heat.
And can we talk about...
and their system.
Can we talk about Bam Adebayo? because
man.
We don't need Whiteside. We don't. And I told you I think Bam Adebayo could be, he can be. I wouldn't say he's gonna win Most Improved Player, but if I were to give the award to someone, just cause I would give it. I would at the end of the season give it to Bam Adebayo because I feel like, the sky's the limit for this guy.
He's averaging 16 points a game, 15.8, but let's just round off 16. 54% from the field goal. And 10.8 assists, 10.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 1.3 steals, and 1.8 blocks. He's proving to be an amazing force on the defensive end. And what I love about him and the Miami Heat in general is that they're all playing in a way faster pace.
What did you text me the other night?
That they're finally playing the way I've wanted them to play for years. I mean, when we had the 2010 to 2014, we had LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, but they weren't fast players. They're not very fast-paced players. Dwayne Wade had bad knees. Chris Bosh is a lanky stretch four, and LeBron James, he has the athleticism, but he doesn't want to play that way. It's just going to tire him out.
Yeah.
So they couldn't play fast. Now, post-LeBron, post-championship, we had Wade. We had Hassan Whiteside, who's he really is a traditional big man. He doesn't play make. He doesn't have an outside shot. He posts up. He gets rebounds. He blocks. And Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic isn't a very speedy point guard either. Even though in the Suns he did play at a faster pace and he slowed down here, but he's also an aging guy also. We weren't utilizing our team. We weren't not that we weren't utilizing our team. We weren't utilizing the young players on our team and their athleticism with Tyler Johnson, Josh Richardson, Justice Winslow, Bam Adebayo when we got him. We had so many fast, reliable players that were young and fast-paced, but the fact was that our star players, or the top of the list of our players, they couldn't play that fast pace. Now we finally have a young core: Justice Winslow, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, who is aging. He's 31 years old. But he plays at a very fast pace. He has that grit. He has that grind. We have so many good players. And let me tell you something. Kendrick Nunn.
I forgot to mention him. Wow.
Kendrick Nunn. No, who is he, bro? He has 4 professional NBA games under his belt, and he's killing it, bro. They're finally playing at a faster pace, which I love. They're finally having the game that I've always wanted them to have. They need to run the ball up and down the court, get rebounds. We're finally doing good in rebounds. And I mean, it's so overwhelming. I love the fact, I know that they're, our hometown team, but yeah. I love the fact that they're playing this way. They're 9th in the league in rebounds. We're top 5 in 3-point percentage and 3-pointers made, and we're top 10 for points scored in the league.
No, and not to mention, to go back to the Kendrick Nunn thing, he's most points by a Heat rookie through 3 games.
Dude, I'm gonna look up his stat line. This year alone, this is the only year he's played in the NBA. The only year.
I believe he did play in the G League. That's what I've heard.
He played in the G League.
But that doesn't freaking matter.
Yeah, he played in the G League for the Warriors, by the way. So the Warriors, what was it? The Santa Cruz Warriors, who is the Golden State Warriors G League affiliate. He played for them, but we got him. They fucked up. This year, Kendrick Nunn is averaging 21 points on 48% field goal and 44% 3-point percentage. And he's getting 2.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.8 steals.
And we saw him in preseason. He had, 40-something points?
He dropped 40 points on James Harden. 40 points.
You see, Kendrick Nunn can do that, but Harden had no business going 40 on us in the preseason.
True. But saying. I mean, just the fact that we have all these young players on our team, and we're 3-1.
Yeah.
We did have an easy schedule so far, but I mean, I love the fact that our team is doing this. They're playing so much more consistently, and just the team we have nobody's really on the team. I mean, Dion Waiters isn't even playing. I think I did read that he's gonna probably play tomorrow. But what kind of role is he going to have? Kendrick Nunn just proved, for sure, when they brought on Kendrick Nunn, they weren't saying, oh yeah, Kendrick Nunn is our number 1 or number 2 option at the shooting guard position. They weren't. Kendrick Nunn was just supposed to be some G League guy. Now look at him, dude. He's definitely he's starting the games. So I mean,
well deserved too.
Well deserved, man. I mean, I love the fact that we're playing faster. Derek Jones, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Chris Silva. I mean, we have such a young, athletic core with people that, nobody knows Kendrick Nunn's name. No one knows Chris Silva's name. But let me tell you, man, I love where this team is going. I love how they played in week 1. But, time will tell if we can keep doing it, if we can keep going on. But I have no doubt that we will.
I hope so, and I think we can, especially with Jimmy Butler in the picture now. His just grit and determination brings so much to this team. Tyler, like I said, Tyler Hero is a bucket. Kendrick Nunn is proving to be a bucket. We still got Justice Winslow, who I love at point guard, even though he's a bit inconsistent. But
yeah, that is something I noticed in the first game, that he wasn't playing as well as I had hoped. In terms of kind of not in the first game. I'm sorry. I think it was in the second game against the Bucks.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, man. I mean, this year he's averaging 14.8 points. He does have to improve on his shooting a little bit. 37% from the field, but he's shooting 30% from 3, which isn't too bad.
Yeah.
But he just came into the league more as a dominant defensive player. But look at his stat line, man. 8.5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, and 1.3 blocks with 1.3 steals, with 0.8 blocks.
I just want to interrupt the podcast because there's a brawl against Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid.
Ooh, throwing punches.
That's something I like to see, especially with Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid was talking shit, saying he was going to be more mature this year. Fuck that. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, dude.
I know he's still Joel Embiid, but I got to watch that shit later. But on to, your next team.
But yeah, no, that was my last one.
Oh, that was your last
But
one.
I mean, my standout players for the Eastern Conference were Trae Young, Derrick Rose, the Miami Heat, and Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, man.
So that wraps it up for episode 4.
Wait, no. Commentators, bro.
Oh my god, dude.
Wait, this guy was going to end the episode early.
Wow,
This guy right here.
Damn, but this is a hell of an episode, bro.
See, too much content.
So let's go down to that. Man, I completely forgot. Thank you, dude.
He was ready to just pack up and go.
Bro, I was about to leave you guys with only 50 minutes. Now you guys are going to get another probably 10 or 15. So,
because we love you guys. So,
let me start off. I'll start off. Because you started off with the standout.
All right, so
I'm going to start off. Yeah. So, what we did is last week, we were talking a little bit and we said, damn. Well, it was really the fact that because last week on Tuesday, Dwayne Wade announced that he's joining the TNT crew as a commentator. And obviously, we just went on a rant about how much we love Miami Heat. And
Dwayne Wade is our Lord and Savior, man.
Jesus, man. He's our Jesus. So we were super excited at the fact that he joined the commentating team, seeing definitely both of our favorite player becoming a commentator. We get to see him even more every day, every week in the league and basketball related. So we were thinking, for next week's episode, for this week's episode, we should talk about which players in the NBA that we think should be NBA commentators when they retire, based off their personality and their time in the league, who we think that would be good to be on TNT or maybe just commentating a certain team.
Yeah, and I we came up with this idea because it's crazy that you look at these players, playing game in and game out, and when once they retire, it's kind of weird. Yeah. And I've never felt that feeling with any player, but when Dwayne Wade retired, I'm like, damn, he's not.
Especially because we saw every single game.
We would see every single game, and seeing him as a commentator, it just felt refreshing to see. And, so we came up with this list. So who do you got, James?
So with current NBA players, so we did a couple of rules. They have to be, pretty much just one rule. They have to be a current NBA player.
Yeah.
So my first pick, so we each did 3. My first one, Isaiah Thomas from the Washington Wizards.
Okay.
I know that he's a nomad, in the league.
Unfortunately.
He's played for 7 different teams, but to be fair, the last, 3 teams, after the Celtics situation, that was not his fault.
Yeah, the Celtics kind of fucked him over. And
yeah.
I still don't forgive them for that.
Yeah, so, but despite all of that, Isaiah Thomas has always been a reliable point guard in the league. In every season he's played, he has the personality and the basketball IQ to become like a great commentator. You know what I mean? I think he has a great, lighthearted personality, And just being a point guard in the league, it's kind of like being a quarterback in the NFL. You have to know the game in a different way.
Yeah.
Especially being a playmaking point guard in the league. So I think he kind of has that mind and that potential to, you know, be a really good commentator. I would love to see him as a commentator when he retires. And who wouldn't want to see Isaiah Thomas sit next to Isaiah Thomas on Players Only? That would be amazing, dude.
That'd be sick.
So that would just be like a great, you know, funny little thing there that they have, but you know, it's from, you know, a great player also.
If that were to ever happen, I really do. I mean, if that meme is still alive, they would incorporate the Spider-Man meme where they're just pointing at each other.
Oh my god, dude, that'd be funny. But I mean, that'd be great. You know, I would love to see the two Isaiah Thomases together on commentating.
That'd be sick.
So, my next one, Blake Griffin, Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
We've seen his Kia commercials, his State Farm commercials. He's a funny guy. He's even on the roast of Alec Baldwin in Comedy Central, man. He's obviously a character. He's a clown. He doesn't take things seriously, you know, he's very lighthearted. He has obviously the personality to become a commentator, and just the fact that he's such a known player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have that credibility to his name, you know. The people in TNT is Shaq, Kenny, and Charles Barkley.
I think
they're all great. They were all great players.
Yeah, and I think Blake Griffin. Sorry to interrupt you. I think Blake Griffin would be like the next Shaq in terms of like his like goofiness.
For sure, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And you know, it's great. I think that Blake Griffin obviously has that credibility and stuff to become a commentator, and he's definitely going to be a future Hall of Famer. So that's why I picked him. And my last pick, Vince Carter, man. I think Vince Carter, he for sure has that credibility to his name. He's Vince motherfucking Carter. Dunk champion. Toronto Raptors legend. And he just recently, because he's played in the games this season, he became the player to play the most seasons in the NBA. 22 seasons in the NBA. That's amazing. So he's always been a reliable player. He's never played less than 15 minutes a game, or he's never averaged less than 15 minutes per game in any of his 22 NBA seasons. And it takes a really special mind to come into the league as a athletic heavy, drive in first, dunk player, and to transition from team to team and from playstyle to playstyle to make it in the league. He's played in the league for 22 years. And he's never played the same for any kind of period of his career. Every period of his career, he's played a different way. And I think that takes a really special mind to really learn a great, you know, to become good at shot making, at shooting, at playmaking. And that's what he's done his entire career. So I think his intelligence or his basketball IQ can really help him to be a commentator. And, you know, he also has that personality.
Yeah, and just like you said, like his adaptability to the game. I mean, just think about it. Just being in the league for that amount of time and the rules that have changed, the play styles that have changed, like everything. He's gone through it all, and he has revolutionized his game each and every season. And I'm not, you know, he's not like a player that's going to give you like 30, 20, at least not now. But just for him to go through all those changes and still be in the league and still enjoy the game, it's amazing.
Yeah, man, those are my 3 picks. I'm waiting to hear yours.
All right, so I'm not going to say my first one. I'm going to leave that one for last because it's pretty funny. But the first guy, well, not my first one, but one of the guys that I have on here is JJ Redick. I think JJ Redick would be a great commentator because I liked it when Steve Kerr, before he became a coach, I liked it when Steve Kerr was on, you know, doing that thing. And I feel like JJ Redick kind of fits that because he's kind of like,
that for sure.
He has like that charisma. And I've seen interviews. He's a funny guy. He's a really cool guy. And he's never missed the playoffs, which unfortunately that's gonna end this season. But I think he's a chill guy. I mean,
you know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Shane Battier.
Yes.
You know, like a 3-point mind, but I don't know. I know that Shane Battier is super analytical. He's even an analytical analyst for TNT, I believe.
Yeah.
For some major network, but he's an analytical analyst, and I think that kind of because their play styles are kind of the same, just because they're so 3-point heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just kind of reminds me of him, and also kind of being that guy that's off the bench, but he knows how to really make an impact.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the guys I have on here, JJ Redick. You know, not much to say, but I just think he'd be really cool. Now, another guy I have on here, which at first I didn't want to put him on here, but the more I thought about it, just the thought of it, I'm like, fuck it, he'd be an awesome, pretty dope commentator. Only because I could imagine him talking shit with Shaq and Kenny and these guys. Draymond Green.
Dude,
I think
Draymond Green, I feel like, for example, how you said that Blake Griffin would be the Shaq.
he'd be like the Charles Barkley.
Yes, dude, I feel like he would be the Chuck.
That would be
Just talking shit, getting in trouble with current players.
That's exactly what I have on here. I feel like he could just call out players and just them talking shit on Twitter. That would be just basketball theater.
And hey, he has a ring. Chuck doesn't.
Oh, that would be an awesome debate. Two to be. Wait, no, 3. He has 3 rings. I'm like brain dead right now.
Yeah.
3 rings. Okay, yeah, he has 3 rings. And then the other guy I have on here, which is gonna come to a surprise to many people, I think Kawhi Leonard would be a pretty interesting commentator, only because, if you would have told me like maybe a couple months ago that, hey, Kawhi Leonard is gonna be a commentator, I'd be like, why the fuck would he be a commentator? But seeing his commercials and his dry humor and just all of that, I just feel like he'd be one of those really funny, quirky commentators. But yeah, I feel like his basketball mind is just so big, and he could bring a lot of insight into the game where he won't really say much, but when he does say something, it'll mean something,
For sure. I mean, if he can definitely get just a little bit more sociable, because I would love to see him as a commentator and just like see his defensive thoughts. You know what I mean? Like his thoughts about the defense, how certain players are breaking it down, how they're able to get past these kind of defensive schemes, or how the offense reads the defense and things like that. I love when commentators do that, when they give their own analytical basketball mind into the commentating. Just like watching football, Tony Romo does that. He breaks down the defense and he knows the play that's going to happen just by the people lining up. I would love to see that in the NBA with Kawhi Leonard.
No, for sure. Now, I did a kind of like honorable mention who I don't think, like someone who I just think wouldn't be a good NBA commentator. And it's no other than J.R. Henny God Smith, bro.
Henny God.
Bro, I don't... Like, I was thinking...
Imagine seeing him, man. Shirtless. He would for sure be shirtless.
Bro, he'd pull up to the commentating session looking like a 2K my league player, bro. Literally. Like, he would just pull up just not knowing what the hell's going on. I love JR, but, man, he'd be a shitty freaking commentator.
Dude, he would be like... That would be funny. They need to have him for like one day, like for sure.
Like he'd be one of those like, hey, why not? Let's just bring him in, and then after that, it's like, okay, what do we do with this guy?
Yeah, I mean that dude, that would be so funny, man. But he for sure wouldn't even take it serious.
He probably go stoned as hell to freaking work. But yeah, those are my my commentators who I think can potentially be in the commentating game one day after they hang it up.
I would love. I mean, out of the 3 that I said, I would love to see Vince Carter, man. I mean, I think he really has that name, but I don't know, dude. Isaiah Thomas and Blake Griffin, your 3.
No, yeah, Draymond. I think Draymond, just a shit talk. I would love that.
Honestly, out of those 6 that we said, I would actually really love to see Draymond Green.
Yeah,
especially the dynamic, like especially how like I mean. I don't know, dude. Imagine actually does happen. Blake Griffin and Draymond Green kind of replace. They go on TNT. I don't know who would replace Ernie, but
yeah, Ernie's the GOAT, man. I love Ernie.
And imagine, even Kenny the Jet Smith can be replaced by JJ Redick.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. That seems like a pretty solid,
like a lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wade.
With Wade, yeah.
That'd be
if he decides to stay on long term and shit.
That'd be dope. Well. That's
can we end it now? Is there anything else or
no? I think that's it. I mean,
okay.
I'm not ending shit. I said what I had to say. But thanks for listening, guys. That's episode 4. Be sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. You know it. If you like what you hear, give us a rating, and if you don't, well, I don't care. But see you next week, guys.
Yeah, guys. Thanks. We're also going to be uploading an article, a blog on our website, theopenshot.com. You can also hear the podcast on there. And we're just going to talk about the commentators that we chose and just write a little bit more in depth. And again, just like Jay said, if you like us, like and subscribe, share us on social media, give us a rating, give us a review. It'll help us out. Peace.
Peace.